came across this post on X from a white man regarding how black people feel about them. And it simply said, they don't hate racism, they hate white people. And it was like, yeah, that's probably the truth in both of that, right? I'm not going to sit up here and lie to kick it. There's a lot of us as black Americans, especially, yeah, we ain't too fond of white people, but that's our business. That's all right. But let's break it down just a little bit. So racism is basically the act of being able to negatively affect a whole other group of people, right? Okay, so we know that. Because I know nowadays people say, oh, racism is that, if you say something about somebody or you feel a certain way. No, that's discrimination and prejudice, right? That's what that is. Racism, again, is being able to negatively affect the whole group of people. Now, who has predominantly done that? I think y'all said white folks, right? White folks have done that. Now, if you want to bring it on back to black Americans, yeah, they've done it to black Americans since they have come into contact with us, especially there in those plantations, right? They have participated in racism. And as Dr. Claude Anderson also describes racism, he says it was all based on economics, right? Now, of course, if you listen to Neely Fuller Jr., he says that they being white folks, do not like black people, white supremacy, right? That's kind of what it means. But as Dr. Claude Anderson said, racism was all about economics, right? We got to make somebody, which is black Americans, that underclass so we can continue to make money. Of course, the institution of slavery and all that other stuff. And so, yeah, that's racism. So again, white people tied to that and black people on the other end of that. So you want to put them together. Black Americans hate racism and white folks are at the puppet master of racism. So you can do what you want to do with that. So yeah, we hate racism because it has done a number on us as black Americans ever since that we were on those plantations and after we got off those plantations, even to this day. Racism is steeped in institutions and systems, and those systems often are designed to keep black Americans at the bottom. It's designed to take. Right? It's designed to take our land with the redlining and the gerrymandering and the eminent domains and all this other stuff. Of course, racism, when our people were freed off of those plantations, we were supposed to get that 40 acres and a mule. And then, Andrew Johnson came along and was like, yeah, nah, y'all ain't finna get that. I'm gonna give that back to the slave master, right? That's racism. It helped them keep their money and earn more money. And it kept us, with no money until we left and we built our Wall Streets and all those other things. And then of course, racism that had white folks at the helm of that came and destroyed all of our towns out of, hate, right? The false idea of white supremacy and jealousy because we had our money going on, right? Circulating over and over again, almost always. And then they didn't like that. Because they weren't doing so well, especially when they let our people off of those plantations. They had to get to work and do things for themselves, and they didn't like that. Of course, racism was at the helm of those black codes that they enacted during Jim Crow that imprisoned a lot of our people with the convict leasing program, which they argued that was even more brutal than slavery. Imagine that, right? You a free person and you look a white person in the eye or you on the same side of the sidewalk with a white woman or it's more than two of y'all gathered having a conversation and y'all go to prison and then some white man, okay, I'm just giving some facts, decided, well, why don't we lease them out to corporations? And, that happened, brutalize them. In fact, the man, I can't remember his name right now, that came up with the idea, white man, he ended up getting in some trouble and he had to go to prison. But before he got there, he was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna check myself out of here, if y'all know what that means, right? Because he understood what he was doing to the convicts that he leased out and the brutality that he exacted upon them. So he couldn't imagine having to endure that himself. Go figure, right? But yeah, that was very racist. And it was, white people at the helm of that. So I'm not saying nothing that's, not founded. This is all facts. You can go look all this stuff up. So when you try to separate racism from white people, and I should say too, it's not all white people, but y'all get the point, right? So trying to separate the hate of white people from the hate of racism, don't do that. Because if you do that, I'm going to do what I just did. I'm going to back it up with something. So I hope that helps anybody who is confused about how we feel. And as I said in the beginning, there's a lot of that is true. Yes, a lot of us aren't too fond of white folks. And yes, we are not fond of racism, if that's all right with you. So anyway, y'all let me know what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube. Peace.